If you think women always flirt with compliments or obvious desire, you've already missed the moment. Because most women don't chase men with words, they test men with questions that feel harmless but change everything. You've been told attraction is about looks, money, confidence. That's only half the truth. The other half is quieter, more dangerous to ignore, especially as you get older. Women don't ask questions to get information. They ask questions to read your emotional structure. And the question almost no older man realizes he's being asked is designed to expose how you see yourself when no one is applauding you. She might ask something simple. So, what keeps you busy these days? Or, do you enjoy what you do? Or even, are you happy right now? These are not small talk. These are emotional X-rays. She's not listening for facts. She's listening for weight, for direction, for whether your life sounds like something she could step into without having to rescue you. Here's the part most men get wrong. They answer with achievements or complaints. They list titles, income, frustrations, or past glory. And in doing that, they fail the real test. Because the question beneath the question is this: do you feel complete without needing someone to fix the empty parts of you? Women are biologically and psychologically wired to detect emotional gravity. Not arrogance, not bragging. Gravity. The sense that a man's life is moving forward with or without approval. When she asks these questions, she's watching your eyes, your pauses, your tone. She's measuring whether your sense of purpose is internal or borrowed. Older men often think attraction fades with age. It doesn't, but the criteria change. Youth relies on surface signals. Maturity relies on emotional alignment. A woman asking this question is quietly asking, if I choose you, will my nervous system relax or stay on alert? When you answer defensively, you signal unresolved battles. When you answer bitterly, you signal emotional debt. When you answer like you're still trying to prove something, you signal instability. None of this is about judgment. It's about safety. Emotional safety is the real currency of attraction. The men who pass this test don't perform. They don't rush. They speak calmly about what they're building, what they enjoy, what they've accepted. They don't overshare. They don't apologize for their pace. They don't need validation from her reaction. And that neutrality is magnetic. Understand this deeply. She isn't asking because she's curious. She's asking because she's considering you. That question is the doorway. Miss it, and you stay a pleasant conversation. Read it correctly, and you become a possibility. Most men never realize they were being invited. They thought it was just talk. But women rarely just talk when attraction is involved. They probe, they feel, they test alignment before desire ever becomes visible. This is why some men feel women lose interest suddenly. Interest didn't disappear. It was quietly withdrawn when the answer revealed emotional chaos instead of calm direction. Once you see this, you'll never hear these questions the same way again, and neither will she. This is not about rehearsed lines or pretending to be unbothered. It's about knowing your own center so clearly that your presence answers her before your mouth does. When your life has rhythm, your silence speaks. When your values are settled, curiosity turns into attraction without effort. And that is the moment she stops asking and starts leaning in without hesitation today. The second layer of this question is far more subtle, and it's where most older men unknowingly fail without ever realizing why the energy shifted. When she asks something like, "Do you live alone?" or "What do you usually do on weekends?" she is not checking your loneliness. She is checking your relationship with solitude. Women are deeply attuned to whether a man is comfortable being alone or merely tolerating it. A man who fills silence with noise, people, distractions, or complaints reveals dependence. A man who enjoys his own space, his routines, his quiet victories, reveals self-trust. And self-trust is intoxicating. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Many men age physically, but never mature emotionally. They grow older, still trying to be chosen, still seeking proof that they matter. Women sense this instantly. When she asks these questions, she's asking, if I don't give you attention, do you collapse? or do you remain steady? Your answer isn't just verbal, it's energetic. If you describe your life as waiting, surviving, killing time, or just getting by, you communicate stagnation. Not because struggle is unattractive, but because passivity is. Women don't fear hardship. They fear being trapped inside a man's unresolved emptiness. Men who attract effortlessly speak about their lives with quiet ownership. They mention habits, not hopes, direction, not desperation. They don't frame their weekends around what they lack. They frame them around what they choose. That choice signals autonomy. Autonomy signals strength. Strength signals safety. Another version of this test sounds like concern. Aren't you lonely? Or don't you want to settle down? Older men often rush to reassure, explain, or defend, and in doing so, they reveal fear. Fear of being judged, fear of missing out, fear of being left behind, none of which inspires desire. The man who passes this test doesn't rush. He answers with calm certainty. He shows that companionship would be an addition, not a solution. Women want to feel wanted, not needed. Needed creates pressure. Wanted creates freedom. Freedom allows attraction to breathe. This is where female psychology becomes ruthless. She is subconsciously asking, if I step back, will you chase or will you remain grounded? Chasing signals imbalance. Groundedness signals confidence. And confidence isn't loud, it's settled. Older men often assume younger men have the advantage. They don't. Youth attracts curiosity. Stability attracts trust. And trust is the gateway to desire that lasts beyond novelty. Women looking for depth listen for emotional consistency, not excitement. The moment your answer communicates peace with yourself, her body relaxes, her voice softens, her questions slow down, because her nervous system is registering that you are not a problem to solve. You are an environment to experience. This is why some women lean toward men others overlook. It's not looks, it's not money, it's emotional self-sufficiency. A man who has built a life that feels complete invites a woman into it without words. Most men think flirting is about impressing. It's not. It's about allowing her to imagine herself beside you without stress. Every question she asks is a doorway into that imagination. Answer from lack, and the door closes quietly. Answer from fullness, and she steps closer without needing permission. This isn't manipulation, it's alignment. And once you understand it, you stop fearing her questions. You welcome them, because you know the answer lives in how you live, not what you say. Now comes the question that sounds supportive, but is actually the most revealing of all. It often arrives softly, almost kindly. What have you learned from your past relationships? Or why did things not work out before? This is where attraction either deepens or dies in real time. She is not asking for history. She is asking for responsibility. Women listen closely to how a man frames his past. Not because they want drama, but because the past predicts emotional patterns. When you speak about exes with bitterness, blame, or superiority, you signal unfinished business. When you portray yourself as the victim, you signal fragility. When you dismiss the question, you signal avoidance. None of those feel safe. The question beneath this one is devastatingly simple. Can you reflect without resentment? Emotional maturity is revealed in reflection, not perfection. Women don't expect a man to be flawless. They expect him to be conscious. A man who can own his mistakes without self-flagellation or blame demonstrates internal authority. Older men often think they must protect their image. They minimize, deflect, or joke their way through this question. But humor used as armor reads as avoidance. And avoidance breaks attraction faster than vulnerability ever could. The men who pass this test speak with clarity and restraint. They don't overshare wounds. They don't dramatize pain. They acknowledge growth. They show that experience has sharpened them, not hardened them. That they learned, adjusted, and moved forward without dragging emotional baggage into the present. This is where female psychology becomes precise. She's asking, if conflict happens between us, will you collapse, explode, or evolve? Your answer tells her which one you default to, and she listens not just to words, but to tone. Calm reflection signals regulation. Defensive tension signals unresolved fear. A powerful response doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds integrated. It sounds like a man who has already made peace with his past. And peace is seductive, not excitement, not chaos. Peace. Many men believe women are drawn to intensity. They confuse emotional intensity with emotional depth. Depth is quiet. Depth is stable. Depth feels safe to lean into, and safety allows desire to stay awake instead of burning out. When you speak of past relationships as chapters that shaped you, not scars that define you, you become grounded. You show that your identity isn't trapped in memory, that you are present, available, whole. This question also exposes something older men rarely realize. Unresolved resentment ages you faster than time ever could. Women sense bitterness like smoke in the air. They may not name it, but they feel it, and they instinctively step back. A man who has processed his past radiates emotional cleanliness. He doesn't need closure from others. He carries it within himself. That self-closure frees his energy to connect instead of protect. Attraction at this stage is no longer about curiosity. It becomes about trust. And trust forms when a woman believes that your emotional reactions are predictable, measured, and responsible. She doesn't need you to be perfect. She needs you to be accountable. Accountability tells her you won't make her carry your unresolved pain, that you won't project old wounds onto new moments. This is why this question matters so deeply. It reveals whether your past controls you or informs you, and the man who shows that he has learned without becoming bitter becomes rare, desired, chosen. Most men never realize they were being tested here. They think the conversation just drifted. It didn't. It went exactly where it needed to go. And your answer decided whether she leaned in emotionally or quietly stepped away without explanation. Then comes the question that feels almost playful, sometimes even casual, but it carries enormous weight. What are you looking for right now? Or what does an ideal relationship look like to you? Many men answer this too fast. And speed is the mistake. She isn't asking for a fantasy. She's asking for clarity. Women are instinctively wary of men who don't know what they want, especially as they age. Uncertainty feels unstable. Vagueness feels unsafe. When a man can't articulate his emotional direction, she senses future confusion, mixed signals, and unmet expectations. The hidden question beneath this one is powerful. Do you choose intentionally, or do you drift into whatever feels good in the moment? Drifting men create anxiety. Intentional men create trust. Older men often fear sounding too serious or too committed. They worry about scaring her away. So they downplay. They say things like, just seeing where things go, or nothing too serious. What they don't realize is that emotional ambiguity is far more threatening than honesty. Clarity doesn't mean pressure. It means alignment. A calm, grounded explanation of what you value and what you're open to communicates emotional leadership. Leadership isn't control, it's direction. And direction allows a woman to relax into connection instead of guessing your intentions. This is where female psychology is often misunderstood. Women don't want to be led blindly. They want to know where the path goes before they invest emotionally. When you speak with intention, you remove uncertainty. When you remove uncertainty, attraction deepens. The men who answer this well don't describe demands. They describe principles. They speak about communication, respect, growth, and peace. They don't list what they hate. They state what they stand for. That difference matters more than most men realize. A woman listening to this answer is imagining emotional future scenarios. She's asking herself, would I feel secure with this man when life gets heavy? Your tone answers that question before your words do. Calm conviction feels safe. Nervous joking feels evasive. Many men think women want mystery. They don't. They want consistency. Mystery creates intrigue at first, but consistency sustains desire. especially for women who have already lived through chaos, inconsistency, and disappointment. When you answer with presence and honesty, you show that you're not chasing validation. You're choosing connection. That shift is magnetic. It tells her you're not here to be entertained or rescued. You're here to build something real if alignment exists. This question also reveals whether you're emotionally available or emotionally guarded. Overly rigid answers signal fear of being hurt. Overly vague answers signal fear of commitment. Balanced answers signal self-awareness. A man who knows what he wants and is willing to walk away if alignment isn't there communicates strength without force. And that strength feels calm, not aggressive. Calm strength is one of the most attractive traits a man can carry. By this point, if you've answered with clarity, groundedness, and self-respect, she's no longer evaluating, she's considering what it would feel like to share space with you emotionally. And that is far beyond flirting. Most men think attraction is built through impressing. It isn't. It's built through emotional transparency paired with stability. And this question is where that balance becomes visible. When you answer from truth instead of fear, you don't chase, you invite. And invitation is far more powerful than pursuit. The final question rarely sounds like a question at all. It comes disguised as curiosity, humor, or even silence. Sometimes she says, "So, where do you see yourself in a few years?" Other times she simply pauses and watches how you hold the moment. This is the ultimate test, and almost no man recognizes it while it's happening. She is asking whether your life has direction beyond desire. Women are not drawn to men who need a relationship to feel alive. They are drawn to men whose lives are already in motion. A future-facing man feels safe because he is anchored in purpose. Purpose stabilizes emotion, and emotional stability is the foundation of lasting attraction. Older men often assume this question is about career or money. It's not. It's about trajectory, movement, growth. She's asking, are you becoming more of yourself, or are you slowly shrinking? Your answer doesn't need grand plans. It needs coherence. A sense that your life is intentional, evolving, and guided by values rather than fear. When a man speaks about his future with calm ownership, a woman senses that time with him will be an expansion, not a sacrifice. Some men freeze here. They joke, they deflect, they minimize their dreams. And in doing so, they unintentionally communicate resignation. Resignation kills attraction, not because ambition is required, but because stagnation feels heavy to carry. The men who pass this test speak about direction, not guarantees. They acknowledge uncertainty without being lost. They show that they are engaged with life, curious, and committed to growth. That engagement is deeply attractive because it signals vitality at any age. This is where all the previous questions converge. Purpose ties together solitude, past relationships, emotional clarity, and intention. A man with purpose doesn't cling. He doesn't chase. He invites others into a journey that already has momentum. Female psychology at this stage is no longer analytical. It becomes intuitive. She feels whether being with you would elevate her nervous system or exhaust it. And that feeling decides everything, often without a single explicit word. If you've noticed women suddenly opening up, laughing more, leaning in, or becoming softer around you after these conversations, this is why. You answered without fear, without performance, without needing approval. And that created emotional safety. Now here is the truth most men never hear. Women ask these questions not to judge you, but to protect themselves. And when you understand that, you stop feeling tested and start feeling chosen. Before this video ends, ask yourself honestly, if a woman asked you these questions tonight, would your life answer with calm confidence or quiet confusion? Comment your answer below with one word that describes where you truly are right now. If this message gave you clarity, like the video, subscribe for deeper insights, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it before they miss another moment they never realized mattered.